Hey everyone, Julian here, coming at you from a new studio for today's episode only. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make Archie Hamilton, Rossi, and Traumer style minimal deep tech house. As usual, you can get the full project files, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video that you just heard in the intro is available at the top of the description on my website. Definitely don't miss out, go grab that, and let's dive in. Alright, so we're at 128 BPM, pretty standard for this style of music. First thing is the sidechain. You know, just a little short kick. Then we have the actual kick. Now this is a new kick for this video. It's just really kind of like a big fat 909. But you can see there's no processing. We don't need any extra like saturation or anything to really like cloud this. We really just want to let that kick kind of rock as it is. And then we have the bass line. Now, this is a very simple bass line, but obviously when you hear it, especially like with the kick, it's extremely groovy. Now, this is due to a few things. For one, we're really focusing around one note, right? Like this F sharp. That's really like our home base here, and we're just going up to a few other voices, like the third, the minor third, I should say, the fourth, and the minor seventh. You know, other than that, we're really just trying to stick to that one note, and that's gonna really work for us because you can hear it gives us like a very even, full bass tone. You know, when you change notes, it kind of changes the timbre of the bass. So if you want it to sound just really full and even, try to stick to one note. Then it's also the groove, you know, it's very like one long note and then these like shorter notes and then like that. And even like how it goes, you know, up and down, really just for like transitions. Right? And that call and response between. So it's not actually that complicated. It's made with analog. It's just one square wave going into a low pass filter with a tiny bit of envelope. And that little tiny bit does help kind of give it some punch, you know? And when the amp envelope's set like that. And then this is just being sidechain. That's really all you really want. You don't want to mess this up or get in the way of it. Then we have this 303. Now, this is using some of the same notes that you just saw, right? You can see it's really just a lot of F sharps across different octaves, and then A, this minor third of F sharp minor. It's just this nice little groove that kind of pops in, you know, you get a bar, and then the 303 hits. So yeah, that can just like add a lot of space in there. And kind of fill out the groove for one bar. Now, this is made with analog as well. So this is a square wave with a low pass filter, and then there's a little bit of key tracking, which actually does go a long way. Key tracking meaning the lower the note you play, the more closed the filter is. And the higher the note you play, the more open the filter is, right? So we got that. We got a bit of resonance as well to get that 303 sound, and also the envelope. I've got amp like that. We've got a little bit of glide, some delay, and then just a high pass and side chaining it. Then we have the main drums. Now, kind of in the same way we would treat the kick and the bass as one thing, I like to treat these main drums as one thing too. Right? Like, that's all kind of one groove, and in particular, it's like, by the main drums, I literally just mean the clap and the open hi-hat that's playing on every upbeat. Like the most like in-your-face drums. And the reason why I like to keep these in their own group is simply, there's no processing or anything, but it's actually for like leveling stuff out. If you look like, you know, we want these shakers and these percussions down here to be a little bit quieter than these. So if you put these in their own group, you can really like turn that up and have those right on top and not get buried without like losing the shakers, right? So first we just have this clap. Just like a nice 909 style clap. Then we have the hi-hat, which is 2 layers. It's this one and this one. So these are also 909 drums. We're using the open hi-hat kind of for that open hi-hat sound, right? You can see I played with the sample and I shortened it a bit with the sustain, turned the decay down a little bit as well, so you get that really tight, punchy, like short 909 like you want for this style of house. And then this one is later on there because you can hear it just add some punch. Here's the open hi-hat without it, with it. It just adds that little bit of punch on top that you really need. Then we have the shakers group. So this is starting with like a little shaker here. Right? This is just one of mine from my Ultimate Drums sample pack. Then we have another one which kind of complements that. You can hear they kind of come together to create one groove. And you got to be careful when you're doing this. You don't want it to get in the way. You have to choose 2 that are doing very different things. Not only are they playing different patterns, right? But they're also tonally very different. So then we have this live house loop. Like some organic percussion. Something like live, and that's being sidechained. And then the last thing in this group is this. So this is another little shaker loop that I found from my Ultimate Drums pack. And you can see I literally just chopped this 1/8 note out. And then that just comes in. You can hear it if I play all of these. You can hear it just kind of adds a bit of like punctuation to the groove. And this has got a flanger on it going pretty fast, a high pass, and a low pass with a little bit of like an LFO to kind of move it. And then on that shaker group, we just have a high pass filter, and then we have this percussion group. Now, when you hear this all together, you can see it's actually, pretty busy in terms of what's actually happening here. It's all these little sounds that are coming together in the background to kind of create grooves. And really what it is it's like, a few of these doing different grooves. Like, for example, this right here, these 3 together, that's one groove. Right? Like, it's just those 3 little percussion sounds. That's one groove. Then we have the groove that's being created between these 2. So there's that. But then there's also, like this groove. I also have a little shaker that I just took a loop and I took one shot from it. And then on top of that, as if that wasn't enough, there's this groove too. Right? So it's all these little combinations of like 2 or 3 little percussion sounds working together. And then once you have like, how many do we have here? We got 1 group, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once you have like, 4 or 5 or 6 of these kind of little grooves happening together, it can become pretty full. And then you add that, you take the drums without that. And then add it. You can really hear what that adds. That's that last, bit of stuff that you may not even, totally notice right away in a full track. But I promise you, if you don't make it, you will notice it. And your tracks will not quite sound on the level of the pros. Like if you've been really struggling trying to get your tracks to sound like the pros, it might be because you need all these little percussive grooves to be happening in the back of your track, and they're not. So then after that groove, we just have this little vocal. It's just this vocal sample. I took it And I'm kind of using like the timing that's in the sample. You can see I actually put it on a 16th note here right before the 2, so you get like that. Like kind of off the, like very syncopated. But it's an example where it's not like chopped or anything. It's just using like what's in the sample, pitching it a little bit to get it to go in time, and trying to let the sample kind of speak rather than trying to quantize it yourself and get all this stuff, just try to like find stuff in samples that can fit into your track. Then we have this little thing. So this is just this little like kind of bright sort of arp. It's actually only 2 notes. It's just F sharp across those 2 octaves and then C sharp, right? So just the root note, the 5th, and then another root note. Now, that's pretty much all you would want for this. This is just meant to kind of fit over these other melodic elements. So you don't want to have too many voices. And for the sound, it's made with operator. It's this FM sound with 2 sine waves, right? We've got the second one up 2 octaves from the first. And then we just have a bit of echo and a bit of reverb. And that's really it. You don't want to mess this kind of sound up too much. Then we have this pad. So, again, we're in the key of F sharp minor. This is playing an F sharp minor chord just with some different voicings. And it kind of turns into an F sharp minor 7 by the end, right? So you can see, okay, so what do we have? We got F sharp, C sharp, the 5th, another F sharp, A, the minor 3rd, another 5th. So that's just like a basic F sharp minor triad there with a 5th and an octave down on the root. And then we add in this E, which is a minor 7th, which is a fancy way of saying 2 notes down from the root, right? But then that all just creates this nice, like, kind of lush chord. And this is how you write these. You want to spread it out across the keyboard, have your root note and your 5th down an octave from everything else. And try adding different voices, whether it's the minor 7th, like this. Maybe we could try a 9th. Maybe a 4th. You can see it doesn't really matter, honestly, what you do, just whatever feeling you're going for, and which voice is going to kind of communicate that feeling. So, for the sound, it's just made with a wavetable. We've got a saw wave, a low-pass filter, and then a nice just LFO on that, plus some noise unison, a bit of chorus, a bit of reverb. It's being sidechained, and then we're high-passing it. Then we have this little chord stab. So, this is just playing this F sharp minor chord. Here, even there, it's still the same chord. I just took the 5th and put it down an octave. And then that's that same thing too, you can see. So, it's pretty simple, but just getting a lot of mileage out of that one chord. So, then for the sound, this is made with analog. We've got a saw wave and a square wave, a bandpass filter, and a big secret to this one is the key tracking. I think just having that, so the higher chord is, a little bit more open, and then we go, doo-doo. It's, very deep. Right, and the key tracking is what's going to do that. Plus the envelope to make it a bit plucky, amp envelope like that. We got a bit of chorus, bit of delay, and even this little kind of short reverb to just give it a bit of room space. Then the last layer we got down here is this little kind of one note pad that comes in every 2 bars. And it's also kind of you get this little groove between this and that chord stab I just showed you, right? Because it's kind of they sort of interchange with each other. You get the chord stab, and then it's silent. That could kind of be a break, low-key, just on its own. But you see what I mean? These two, it's just like with that percussion group. It's these two doing kind of like a call and response with each other. So for the notes, this is just root note and fifth. Again, this is one of those ones you're not really going to get too explorative. You just want to keep it simple. And then for the actual sound, it's made with operators. So FM synthesis is really good for this. You can see we got a sine wave with a little bit of attack, and then really just a bunch of other sine waves. But what's making it kind of come together this way is the LFO, which is on the volume of oscillator B. So that's how you're getting this nice movement and kind of like morphing texture to the sound. I've got a bit of reverb, a sidechain, and that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project files, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video. It's available at the top of the description on my website. Definitely go down there now and grab it. This is a really high quality template. I promise you, you can make your next hit using this, or maybe it'll just help you learn. Anywhere that you are in the process, this template can really help you out. Plus, it really helps support me. You know, I don't make a whole lot off of YouTube, but I make a lot of these videos, and I've studied and really put a lot of time into understanding these tracks so you guys can make better tracks on your own. Thank you so much for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.